Nancy Benoit was found dead in an upstairs office, her wrists and ankles bound, and a Bible placed beside her body. Authorities later determined she had been strangled to death. The following day, on Saturday, the 23rd of June, Daniel Benoit was murdered in his bedroom, also by strangulation. Hello, true crime fans, and welcome to Behind the Yellow Tape. Today, we delve into one of the most shocking and tragic events in professional wrestling history. A case that transformed a celebrated athlete into a perpetrator of unspeakable violence. This is the Chris Benoit tragedy. Christopher Michael Benoit was born in Montreal, Quebec, Canada on the 21st of May 1967. From a young age, Benoit was drawn to professional wrestling, idolising the likes of the Dynamite Kid. He began his training in Stu Hart's infamous Dungeon in Calgary, Alberta, alongside future stars like Owen Hart and Brian Pillman. Benoit quickly earned a reputation for his intense, no-nonsense style and incredible technical prowess. He was a wrestler's wrestler, earning the respect of peers and fans alike for his believable offense and stiff, impactful moves. His career spanned several promotions, including Stampede Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, ECW, and WCW, before he finally arrived in the World Wrestling Federation, later called the WWE, in 2000 as part of the Radicals, alongside wrestlers Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn. Benoit's career highlights are numerous: multiple Intercontinental Championship reigns, Tag Team Championships, and most notably, winning the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 20 in 2004, a moment many fans remember as incredibly emotional, especially with his celebration along his close friend and fellow wrestler Eddie Guerrero. Off-screen, Chris Benoit was known as a private individual, dedicated to his craft and, by many accounts, a loving father to his two children from a previous relationship, David and Megan, and his son Daniel with his second wife, Nancy. Nancy Dale Sullivan, known to wrestling fans as Woman or Nancy Benoit. She had a prominent career in professional wrestling as a valet and manager. She and Chris met through the wrestling world and married in 2000. Their life from the outside appeared to be a blend of wrestling fame and suburban normalcy, albeit with the strains that come from a demanding travel schedule and the physical toll of the sport. However, beneath the surface of success and family life, darkness was brewing. Friends and colleagues noticed changes in Benoit's behaviour over the years. He became more withdrawn, increasingly paranoid and prone to mood swings. These shifts were often attributed to the cumulative effects of concussions, a common affliction in professional wrestling, and the physical demands of his high-impact style. The wrestling industry at the time was only beginning to grapple with the long-term consequences of head trauma, specifically CTE. The weekend of the 22nd of June 2007 marks the horrifying culmination of these underlying issues. Over the course of 3 days in his home in Fayette County, Georgia, Chris Benoit murdered his wife Nancy and their 7-year-old son Daniel before taking his own life. The details are chilling. On Friday, the 22nd of June, Nancy Benoit was found dead in an upstairs office, her wrists and ankles bound, and a Bible placed beside her body. Authorities later determined she had been strangled to death. The following day, on Saturday the 23rd of June, Daniel Benoit was murdered in his bedroom, also by strangulation. Like his mum, a Bible was placed near his body. Forensic evidence suggested Daniel had been sedated before his death. Finally, on Sunday the 24th of June, Chris Benoit committed suicide by hanging himself in his weight room, using the pulley of his own exercise equipment. 2 Bibles were found beside his body. The discovery of the bodies on the 25th of June, after concerned friends contacted authorities, sent shockwaves across the globe. Initially, speculation ran wild. Was it a home invasion? Was there another assailant? However, as the evidence mounted, the horrific truth began to emerge. Chris Benoit was responsible for the deaths of his wife and son. The immediate aftermath was chaotic. WWE, which was scheduled to air a tribute to Benoit on Monday Night Raw, quickly changed course as details of the murder-suicide emerged. They addressed the tragedy with a somber statement, distancing themselves from the horrific acts. The wrestling world was stunned, grappling with how a man they knew, a man they cheered for, could commit such heinous crimes. In the subsequent investigation, a major focus turned to Benoit's brain. Post-mortem examinations, particularly by the Sports Legacy Institute, revealed severe brain damage consistent with advanced CTE, a degenerative brain disease found in individuals with a history of repetitive brain trauma. Dr. Bennett and Malou, who examined Benoit's brain, stated it was so severely damaged it resembled that of an 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient. The damage was concentrated in the frontal lobes, which are responsible for impulse control, decision-making, and emotional regulation. While CTE offered a crucial piece of the puzzle, it's important to note that it doesn't solely explain the entirety of Benoit's actions. Other factors likely contributed, included anabolic steroid abuse, which was prevalent in wrestling at the time and found in Benoit's system, marital problems, and potential mental health issues. Text messages sent by Benoit shortly before the murders and earlier police reports of domestic disturbances painted a picture of a troubled marriage and a man in mental distress. The Chris Benoit tragedy forced a reckoning within professional wrestling and sports in general regarding concussions, player safety, and the culture surrounding performance-enhancing drugs. WWE in particular implanted stricter wellness policies and concussion protocols in the wake of the incident. The legacy of Chris Benoit remains deeply divisive. For many, his wrestling achievements are forever overshadowed by the horrific final acts of his life. For others, the tragedy serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of untreated brain injury and mental health issues. It's a story with no heroes, only victims, leaving behind the trail of unanswered questions and profound sorrow. Thank you for listening today, and remember, stay behind the yellow tape.